Hey guys, welcome to Crunch Time. It's episode 11. Big week in the NFL as playoffs are rolling in to the conference championships. Big games this past weekend. First, we'll start with New England beating the Chiefs and Denver taking out the Steelers. Denver looks like a team that could go all the way. I like Denver because of the defense. And also, I hate the Patriots, so let's just say that for just not to be biased or anything, but I'm not a big fan. Greg, what do you think about all the chatter that's been going on this past week between Denver and New England?
Oh man, Tom Brady's a big old crybaby. At least that's what the Denver defense is saying. Hey, I mean, you know what? This is kind of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, liven things up a little bit and make it interesting. The one comment I didn't like was Harris for Denver saying that the only way to take down Gronkowski is to go after his legs, or you got to hit him low at his knees. Now that comment may have been taken out of context, but I mean, with the NFL and the way that they pride themselves on being, safe nowadays, that's the last thing they want to hear a defensive player say. And I like Gronk. I want to see him spike a couple touchdowns on Sunday.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're a defensive player, where are you allowed to hit anybody anymore? I mean, you can't go high, you can't go low. You have to hit them like directly in the numbers. I don't get it. I mean, my dad always watched always watched football with me, and he always said, you know how you get guys down? You tackle them at their legs, because you can't run if you can't move your legs. And it's not like you can't move your legs like I'm going to hurt you, but like I'm going to grab your legs. And it's not going at your knees and trying to hurt somebody. It's trying to tackle somebody and make them not be able to run anymore.
Yeah, that's what you say, but maybe you don't say that, 4 days before the game, and you don't say it about their best offensive weapon. I mean, when if Randy Johnson is on the mound, he wasn't saying, "Oh, I'm gonna pitch inside and then throw a heater at somebody's head." Maybe you talk about that after the game because you brush somebody off the plate. But when you're saying Gronkowski, you're gonna go after his legs. That's another thing. That's another thing you got to worry about. But I like the chatter. I like when there's other things to talk about sometimes other than the actual football game.
I like the chatter too. I'm going to do something I never ever do, and I'm going to take Tom Brady's side here a little bit. If I'm a quarterback, I'm looking for flags. I'm going to look at the referee, and I'm going to get on his side so that he says, you know what, these guys are hitting me. They're hitting me a little late. They're hitting me a little at the end. I'm going to try and get a flag. I don't disagree with the crybaby thing because that's who Tom Brady is. He's a crybaby. He's always going to look for the flag. He's always going to look for the referee. Don't touch me. I'm pretty. I don't want to get hurt. But, if it was me, I'm going to look for a flag. It's the playoffs.
Yeah, I think he's got a little bit of the Michael Jordan syndrome. Every time he misses a shot, he's calling for a foul. And I'm a big Jordan fan, so I love it. But, I mean, hey, like I said, it's the NFL now. Every penalty is geared towards the quarterback. You're not allowed to touch him. So why not play that card if you're Tom Brady? More power to him.
Yeah, of course. So as far as the game goes, who do you like in the game?
You know what? I mean, first and foremost, I got to say we are so privileged as fans to be able to see a fourth AFC conference title game between Manning and Brady. I mean, 25, 30 years from now, people are going to say, oh, who are the two greatest quarterbacks of all time? Brady and Manning might be right there. And we've grown up in an era where we've been able to see them. So it's awesome. But for this week, I'm going Brady. I think they're going back to the Super Bowl. And I think they have a good shot actually of winning it now that Edelman's back and, Gronkowski and Brady and Belichick. Can't rule them out.
I like Denver. I like the defense. I think they're playing well. And I think if Peyton's got to go back to something that he's not really used to and doing a little bit of the dink and dunk and not throwing the ball far and running the ball. If they run the ball well against New England, they have a really good shot. And as long as they don't turn the ball over and they play good defense, I like Denver in this game.
Yeah. I think Denver defensively – but I just can't put my faith in Peyton Manning at this point.
You know what? And I think for me, I want to put my faith in Peyton Manning because he's Peyton Manning. He's probably my favorite quarterback of all time. I've never been a Tom Brady guy. I've loved Peyton Manning. And I want to see him ride off into the sunset with a championship because I don't think he's going to come back next year. I don't think his body is going to let him come back next year. His mind may want him to, but I don't think his body is going to let him. So I'd love to see him ride off into the sunset with a victory, especially over Brady. And I know a lot of people make it a Brady Manning thing. They've never played it down against each other. I mean, it's just two teams, two guys playing quarterback on a team. You know, Peyton Manning's never sacked Tom Brady. You know, Tom Brady's never intercepted Peyton Manning. They aren't playing against each other. It's just, you know, but it's nice to see, you know, those, you know, two great quarterbacks going at it one more time.
Hey, man, the best thing we can get is a shootout. It would be unbelievable.
I don't think Peyton Manning's got too many more shoutouts left in him.
No. I mean, not unless you're shooting down the ducks that he's throwing up there.
No, exactly. All right, so other game, Arizona playing the Cardinals. Arizona playing Carolina. Arizona came off a weird win going into overtime. I thought they had that game locked up, and then good old Aaron Hail Mary Rodgers out there throwing 40-yard touchdowns with seconds left on the clock. What a wild game. What do you think about that game? That game was just insane. I thought the Cardinals had that game wrapped up.
Yeah, and we all learned a new rule in the NFL, 800-page rule book that a coin flip actually doesn't have to flip. So in a coin toss, the actual coin can just be placed on the ground, apparently. Yeah. The actual coin doesn't need to flip in the air. It's amazing. Unbelievable game. I mean, 4th and 20, down basically on your own 10-yard line to throw that pass to a no-name receiver. I mean, I don't even know who. I know it was a white guy. I don't even know who it was.
Yeah.
And then, my gosh, a 60-yard bomb to tie the game. Unbelievable. I mean, just when you think Aaron Rodgers is out, he does that. Like, I actually wanted them to win.
I mean, that team for me is weird because I don't think the chemistry between Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy is there anymore. And I think, if they didn't make the playoffs, they were going to make a move there. I think it's too late now because I think you're going to stick with Mike McCarthy there. But I think this is going to be his last shot because I don't think that Aaron Rodgers has so much time left. I mean, he's 32 years old. I don't think he has much time to be waiting and trying to figure things out.
Yeah, I mean, he had one of his worst years, production wise.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, here you are, you're playing in the divisional game and you're take the team into overtime and you didn't even get a touch of the ball, before Arizona was able to win. They didn't really have a strong running game this year. I don't think Eddie Lacy was in great shape and he didn't produce like he had the last 2 years.
No, and then Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, Jordy Nelson goes down before the beginning of the season. You lose your number one wide receiver, and Devontae Adams didn't really turn into anything. And Emmanuel Cobb was really your only other option. So, you get a couple more weapons. You say, I mean, like, let's see Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. I mean, they're playing to their 37, 38. You still could have 5-6 years left with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm telling you, I mean, he still throws the ball better than 90% of the league. So,
right, yeah, of course. On the other side of the ball, we got Carolina just trouncing Seattle in the first half and letting Seattle come back in. It goes down to an onside kick. But Carolina just running the ball well, playing great defense, intercepting, going pick six, and just dismantling what I thought was a Seattle team that really turned around in the second half.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if that was because Carolina let down or because Seattle started playing in desperation mode. So you can kind of take that game, a tale of two halves. I think Carolina probably looked the most dominant in the first half out of any team left. But then that second half, maybe you say they let down. They didn't put their, the nail in the coffin. They looked a little vulnerable. So you can kind of look at it two ways. But I definitely think if you're Carolina or if you're a Carolina fan, you got to feel very optimistic about going to play Arizona this week.
Yeah, you know what? This game actually confuses me because I'm not sure which Arizona team I'm going to get. If I get the Arizona team that the last couple of games of the regular season, they're going to go out there and look like the best team and Carson Palmer's the best quarterback out there, then Carolina's going to have a real rough time. But the past game, I mean, they played the way they played the Packers, I didn't think that they played well. And I didn't think that, they could go in and play and beat Carolina. So I'm not really sure. I like Carolina in this game, honestly, just because of the running game and the way their defense is playing. They don't turn the ball over. They run the ball very well. And if you're a quarterback and go out there and get you a first down on a 3rd and short, that's a tough thing to match up against.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling Carolina in this game too. We all knew that Luke Kuechly was a great inside linebacker, but he's just impressive. I mean, to be able to pick six against Seattle the other day, I mean, that was just great. And I mean, I think we got Cam Newton, the league MVP, playing. And I think he shows you that, maybe Jonathan Stewart doesn't need to be the lead back every single time, but if you got Cam Newton, he can tuck it and run, better than anybody else in the league. So, yeah, I'm feeling Carolina at home, 15-1. 16-1 now with last week's win. Little bad weather, though, this week in Charlotte. We got a nor'easter hitting the Northeast. I think there's going to be some rain and some sleet down there, so could be a muddy affair for everybody.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that helps Carolina because they're a running team, and when there's bad weather, what do? You run the ball. You don't have to worry about throwing those deep passes because it's not going to be there. So I like Carolina. I have bad luck with my picks. Most of the picks I make are wrong. So if you're a betting person, I would take Arizona in this game. But I like Carolina. I don't know.
I feel you on it. And we got Greg Olsen representing a little Wayne Hills from New Jersey.
Greg Olsen.
Always nice to see somebody from New Jersey playing in a big game.
I know. I can't wait. But yeah, it should be a great game. I'm excited. So that's the NFL for this week. I'm going to switch gears a little bit to the NBA. As always, what we always do on this show, because we can't talk about anybody other team, we have to talk about the Warriors, who get trounced by the Pistons and then go into Cleveland and look like a team possessed and going against LeBron James and just making LeBron James look inadequate against a top team in the East. And say what you want about the West, but if the Cavs were in the West, I don't think that they're a top 4 team, top 5 team, but in the East, they're the number 1 team. I think that the Warriors are just too good right now, and even with some injuries, they're still picking up steam. I don't know.
Yeah, the Cavs can't play defense. Yeah. Kevin Love's not is never going to be a great defender, and that showed it. I mean, ball movement is the key to great basketball success, and 2 teams in the West understand that better than anybody. The Warriors being the best, and the Spurs, being the second best. But you don't need to be able, dribble penetration doesn't mean anything. If you can swing the ball 4, 5, 6 times and get a defense moving, sideline to sideline, and then you can just, take them to town. I wish we could run clips. There's a clip of how bad Kevin Love played a pick and roll. If you get a chance, go on to ESPN, go on to Yahoo, and look at the clip where, he's covering Draymond Green. Draymond Green goes up to set a pick on the ball. Kevin Love gets lost in no man's space. All of a sudden jumps out to try and cover Steph Curry on a 3. Steph Curry dribbles right past him, throws it back to Draymond Green, who gives it a lob to Andrew Bogut. And it's the most beautiful basketball you ever seen. It took all 3 seconds. I urge anybody to go see it.
Look at the 2 teams you mentioned, right? You mentioned Golden State, you mentioned San Antonio, right? The 2 top teams in the West. And what do? They move the ball. Everybody's part of that team. It's not a solo act, all right? That's why the Knicks have been so bad for the past 3 or 4 years, because they focus on one guy and that's it. They don't move the ball, they don't swing the ball. And the one time that they were good was when Carmelo Anthony was out and Jeremy Lin was in. And they were passing the ball. Landry Fields was shooting threes. All those guys. I mean, that's what basketball is. We learned it when we were kids. Pass the ball, look for the open man, swing it around. You got 25 seconds. Or whatever, 25 in the NBA. So swing the ball. I think it's going to be the Cavaliers versus whoever in the West, and then whoever in the West is going to win. That's who the championship is going to be for me.
Yeah, I mean, you can never doubt or put anything past LeBron James. I mean, still one-on-one, he's the best player in the NBA.
Correct.
So just like the old Lakers teams in the early 2000s, probably like some of the Bulls teams, once April hits and it's playoff time, you're going to see a completely different mentality from them. It's the fact that it's an 82-game season. I mean, we haven't even hit the All-Star break. So, the fact that the Cavs lost both their games against the Warriors, okay, so we didn't get the matchups or the games that we thought we were going to see. But I still, if I was a betting man, I would still have my money on Cleveland being there in the NBA Finals. Who they're going to be playing, I'm not sure. But if it's the Warriors or the Spurs, I'm putting my money on either one of those because collectively as a team, they are better than LeBron James and his supporting cast in Cleveland.
I agree. And one last note, the Warriors are on pace for 74-8. Just to let you know, just to keep you up to date on the actual numbers. 74-8. They've racked up a few losses in the past, weeks or so. But I still have faith. I want to see history. So I'm still holding on to that. One more fun topic to talk about. The NBA released the top sales for the jerseys so far this season. One I thought was kind of odd. Well, not really odd, but number 4, Kristaps Porzingis, number 4 on the list of leading all rookies, and as well as number 4 in the as far as the NBA goes. Number 1 was Curry, 2 LeBron, and everybody's charity case this year, Kobe Bryant with number 3. Riding off into the sunset, I guess. But second time I used that term today. But Porzingis, I mean, given Knicks fans' life, I worked in next to Madison Square Garden. Knicks fans are loyal no matter how bad you are. So I think Porzingis is going to be the future of the team, and congratulations to him for number 4.
Yeah, I think it just shows you the international draw that he's getting too. I mean, I remember when Yao Ming was in the league, he was always, the leading all-star getter. So definitely, I think Porzingis being in a major market like New York, getting his face out there, being the second best player on that team, being that young, almost like franchise guy that you're going to be able to build behind for the next couple of years. Why not? He's a 7-foot freak. That's what they said when he was coming out. When he came into the draft, he got booed on draft night. But let me tell you, he doesn't hear too many boos now.
No, of course not. I mean, I think that team has listen, they're not 500. They still have their flaws. Listen, they won more games than they won last year, so there's some positives there. But you only won 14 games last year. There's not, you're going to be positive. Let's be honest. So, I like that team. I think with Carmelo there, you're never going to win a championship. That's just my feeling. But Greg, anything else you want to talk about tonight before we leave?
No, man. I'm excited. We got Warriors Bulls on tonight. It's on at a 8 Eastern Standard, so I don't have to wait up till 10:30 Pacific time.
You can actually watch that one. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. North Carolina Tar Heels. We don't get a lot of college basketball in here, but number 2, baby, playing Wake Forest today.
We'll get the college basketball when it gets closer to March. All right.
Dude, we got a 3-game skid. What's going on, Coach K?
Well, for Greg, this is Jason signing off, and everybody have a good night.